I know that some people are very focused on making things work faster and better, but there are people like me who are more concentrated on the quality issues, right? Isn't it possible that all of these requirements for quantity are going to lessen quality?
I mean, I see people almost the same. Everybody would like to have high quality, but they also would like to have efficiency and quantity. And I don't see any contradiction between quality and quantity and efficiency.
Maybe for industrialists, but surely not for artists.
No, but I feel that artists became really great at what they're doing because what they have done is they have efficiently repeated what they are doing over and over again until they became experts in it.
Exactly, it's a very good example with the artist. I know, for instance, Picasso. He was producing like a machine from morning to late at night, and that's why he got this talent and inspiration. And I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think most artists are like that. They are highly productive. So, well, I shouldn't talk about artists. I mean that if you have many examples of something, you can see this thing from all various angles. And then when you have many examples of it, it's a kind of an automated formalization in the brain. Then you can see it, you understand it so well, and then it's not funny anymore. Then it's like you have it, you understand it, you are with it. So then you can like leave it, formalize it, forget it, delegate it to low levels of your mind.
But don't you think that if we do things over and over again, they don't motivate us anymore? So we actually are not motivated to play with them anymore. So we don't want to learn.
Exactly. We keep on playing until we have learned. And once we have learned, we are not motivated into playing anymore. That's what it's all about. Once we have learned, we can say that we integrate the whole thing in our mind, and it's so well integrated that it doesn't fascinate us anymore.
Do we play only to learn in that case?
Very good question. Very good. I think you're right. I think playing is there as a way of learning. That's what it's all about. Although people don't understand this, but that's why children learn so efficiently. They play and they learn, and they play and they learn. And when they don't like to play anymore, it's because they don't learn anymore.
Okay, so I'm glad you agree with me that when you've learned something, learned all aspects of life, then you start to lose interest in it. Is that the case?
Yes, this is exactly it. We lose interest once we know it. So this is valid for all living creatures. They do things when they can benefit from it, when they enjoy it, when they're happy. But when they're not happy with it, they stop doing it.
But why do they do it? That is the question.
Now, that's a good question. We are getting more and more philosophical here. See, people do things because they benefit from them. People do things because they feel well. And one can say that people do things because it pays. Like organizations do things to make money. And it's always this, I call it learning here when we talked about knowledge and knowing things. But yes, you asked why people act all together. It's because it's good for them. We are motivated by what is good for us. It's really so simple that it's hard to see because it's so very, very simple.
But there's something that's actually concerning me here. You're implying that thoughts are sometimes unconscious, but the question is, how can we have thoughts that are unconscious and at the same time we're using them? I mean, you see the contradiction in my question.
I understand you, but you know, this is the very fascinating thing of it, that when you know something really well, you don't want to focus on it. One can say that it is automated in your brain. You know it so well that you do it just out of habit, out of routine. So these things are going on in the human mind in the same way as when you formalize and automate machines. So you automate it, and this is the global rule. It's a universal rule that everything that you repeat many times becomes unconscious. So you forget everything that is boring. This is what it's all about, the human thinking. If we didn't forget what was boring. We would, our mind would be occupied with trivialities all the time.
Interesting. So what you're trying to say is basically we lose awareness of our thoughts. And is this actually possible?
That's exactly what it is. We lose the awareness of things that we do not want to be occupied with. It's completely out of our consciousness. One can say it's delegated to the subconscious levels. And this is fine. I mean, who wants to go around thinking, how is my stomach functioning? Is my heart beating? Or things like that. Almost everything in our life is already unconscious, and this is beautiful. This is like the industrialization of the mind.
But to be honest, it's a bit concerning. To lose awareness of your thoughts, it's like turning into a machine. I mean, I don't see myself as different from a machine when I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not aware of my thoughts.
Well, you said you would be scared by this. I would say the contrary to what you are saying is much, much more scary. Can you imagine yourself, you would be like this autistic people, or can you imagine yourself if you would have to be aware of everything that goes on in your life? If you would be aware of every single detail around you, you would go nuts. You would go insane. It's not possible to be aware of everything.
What is the purpose of this?
Good question. I start to like your question. In the beginning you were protesting here all the time, but now you really formulate questions that drives the dialogue further. Maybe it's because you take notes all the time, so...
Yeah, but you actually are convincing us with what you're saying, even though they're a bit out of what we maybe think about or comprehend.
All right, so we learn. Well, to answer this question, when you can let go of things, you asked me about the purpose. The purpose is that, you know, when the mind is released from all trivial burdens of everyday life, it can feel more free. One can again be like a child, to be creative. So this is the paradox. I mean, for a while you thought I was all the time advocating machines, but what I mean is I want to release my thinking and feelings so I can do the things I like. We are more free, and still we are fixing the routine. So leave the unconscious mind where it is. That's when it's most efficient. So the purpose is the same as everything. We get richer or stronger and released from all this heavy burden of boring everyday work.
It seems as though you'd be happier not to think at all.
Maybe, but now I think you are getting too advanced. I mean, this was really about this, we're talking about this knowledge management in relation to industrialization and things like that. But really, I mean, it's such a good question. You say we are most happy when we don't think at all. Do you know, there are many philosophers that claim that it is so. Many Buddhists say this thing. You can even go to India and go to gurus who sit in retreats and they will say, it's all in your mind. Stop thinking and you will see heaven. And maybe they're right. I mean, some people take drugs to stop their thoughts, and if we have no thoughts at all, maybe we will be good off. Maybe we can act anyway without thinking. So thinking could just be like a witness checking things. But oh, I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting a little out of deviating from the subject. So, well, it's good to think less sometimes, but to not think at all, well, could be debated.
Now I'm having this aha moment where I feel that I'm becoming aware that what I'm not aware of is what I had known. Okay, let me just put things in order now. What I realized is I learned something, and I learned it and kept on reflecting on it to a point that I just forgot all about it. And now when I'm just reflecting on it again, I realized that it was all in my head all this time without me actually knowing about it.
Wonderful. It seems like your knowledge is automated. I think you're right. I think it is possible to to like even go higher than your thoughts. The thoughts move on by themselves. You don't need to think anymore. Excellent.